والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Before I call on the Imam or Dr.Sabeel Ahmed, there is just one thing I'd like to point out for those who are volunteering for the Doors Open next weekend. And that is, when you come here, please remember that we are not here to convert anyone. We are here to present Islam to people in a way by which they will see who Muslims are. And this by itself will help them to want to know more about Islam and will eventually ask questions. And we do, believe me, we do have people coming back and want to know more, and they have even accepted Islam. So please be conscious of this and be conscious of what Brother Sahib has said, because there are people too who come here with an aim, whereby they try to get you to say things which you shouldn't say. So be careful regarding this. Now for our second part of our program. Before I introduce Dr. Sabeel Ahmed, I'll ask Dr. Amin, our Imam, to say a few words to you, inshallah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. كما أسلف الأخ أشرف في الدعوة إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى وفي العمل إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى، دعوة الناس بأفعالنا قبل أقوالنا. كنت أسلفت في يوم الجمعة في الخطبة أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دعا الناس بلسانه إلى الإسلام في مواقف محددة فقط، لكن أغلب الناس الذين دخلوا في الإسلام دخلوا من خلال أفعاله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لما رأوا خلقه الكريم خلقه العظيم تحولوا إلى الإسلام وقبلوا الإسلام. والقصص في سيرة الحبيب صلى الله عليه وسلم كثيرة جدا جدا تنبه إلى هذا الأمر. لماذا؟ لأن الإسلام يا إخوة ويا أخوات لم يأتي ليمارس في المساجد فقط كما الديانات الأخرى في المعابد. الإسلام جاء ليطبق واقع حياة يعيش الإنسان في بيته، في الشارع، في عمله، في أي مكان يطبق هذا الإسلام. فإذا رآه الناس رأوا انعكاس لهذا الإسلام داخله، فإذا كان في هناك انعكاس لهذا الإسلام قبلوا هذا الدين بكل سهولة ويسر. الآن العكس قاعد يحصل الآن في بلاد المسلمين وفي غير بلاد المسلمين، أن المسلمين فقط بألسنتهم ما تعودوا يعرضوا الإسلام بطريقتهم الصحيحة. ولمن يريد منكم أن يعرف هذا بالضبط ماذا أحدث في الغرب ليراجع قصة إسلام يوسف إستس. كلكم ممكن نعرف يوسف إستس ولا لا؟ كلنا بنعرف طريقة إسلامه كانت عبارة عن فقط تعامل مع مسلم، يعني جسد الإسلام في نفسه. ما كان من هذا الرجل، وكان في واقعه أن والده يعني قيم على الكنيسة، وكانت العائلة تسير في نفس الخطى. لكن لما رأى هذا الإنسان المسلم وكيف انعكاسات الفكرة عن الإنسان المسلم ورأى بشكل آخر، تغيرت فكرته عن الإسلام جميعا ثم دخل في الإسلام. وهو الآن من كبار الدعاة إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى، كبار الدعاة. ما بيرى الواحد منا قضية الدعوة إلى الله عز وجل إلا ويرى هذا الرجل أمامه، فتح الله عز وجل عليه. So as Brother Ashraf mentioned, that we have to apply our religion in our life. It's not just a word that we have to call people to become a Muslim. And when we see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his ahadith, in his action, alayhi salatu wasalam, he did not call people to become a Muslim just in a few times. He called them sometimes to become a Muslim, and the rest of his life is his action. When the people saw him, alayhi salatu wasalam, with the best manners, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, they accept Islam right away. They did not ask who's Muhammad or who is this guy. he just accepted this person, and when they asked about him, they told them this is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So because of his action, the people accept Islam easily. And this is what we have to do right away, or right now in our life. In our lives here, that we have many people around us. They do not see us as a reflection of our religion. That's why they do not like Islam. And you will see that when the Muslim countries have some non-Muslims, they do not accept Islam. In Arab and Muslim worlds, back there in the West, in the East, many people, they do not accept Islam because they have a bad idea about Muslims around them. So they do not accept Islam. And here, because we call it a virgin word or virgin new word, there is nobody here to talk to them about Islam, that we have to apply our religion in our life. Islam is not in the mosques, not like other religions in their churches or the synagogues or any place that they worship God, quote unquote. But Islam, some of the Islam action in the masjid. You have to come to the masjid to perform your salah. You have to come here to participate with your brothers and sisters, their lives. But your Islam should be outside too. You have to be a good Muslim in the street. You have to be a good Muslim in your work. You have to be a good Muslim at home. Everywhere you work, you go, you have to be a good Muslim. And when the people show us, and when the people show us their ignorance, that we hate this religion, we will show them our perfection. We have to show them that we are Muslims. And our religion, and Brother Sabeel, Brother Sheikh Ashraf, he talked about our Dr. Sheikh Tawakkul talked about the first impression. When the Prophet ﷺ reached the Medina, the first impression that he spread among people, when he talked to them, أفشوا السلام بينكم أطعموا الطعام. This is the first word. And who saw him عليه الصلاة والسلام at that time? Abdullah bin Salam. Abdullah bin Salam was a rabbi. And at the first moment that he saw the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Oh, I recognize this face is not a face of liar. This is the face of a truthful, who said the truth, sallallahu alaihi wasallam." And he became a Muslim at the moment that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam arrived in the Medina. So we have to apply the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our lives now, to be a good Muslim. That's why we invite Dr. Sabeel, Jazakallahu khairan, and Sheikh Ashraf will talk about Dr. Sabeel for a little bit. I don't want to say anything about Dr. Sabeel in front of him because I know his personality about that. So I let Sheikh.
Dr. Sabeel Ahmed with us. He's a big da'i in the States, United States and other places where he called people to Islam and many other things. As the Imam just mentioned, he does not like any kind of elaborate introduction, but I have to mention a few things so that you know the person who will be talking to you here and you'll appreciate what he has to say. Dr. Sabeel Ahmed had given many outreach presentations and workshops in various cities, including schools, universities, libraries, churches, public places in the US. His topic includes Islam 101, Sharia laws, myth and facts, freedom of speech, comparative religion, and youth empowerment. After completing his medical education from the Caribbean, are you from the Caribbean? I'm from the Caribbean.
So let us go home.
In the Caribbean, he decided to dedicate his time as a full-time educator of Islam to tackle Islamophobia and to convey the peaceful message of Islam. He is the executive director of Gain Peace and Outreach Project of the Islamic Circle of North America. So that's briefly a few things about Dr. Sabeel Ahmed. As I said, it is a great pleasure and a great honor having him here. And please give him your full attention. And we will have time for questions and answers. The time that we allotted for this is quite extensive. We have about 3 hours, but we'll break. And between that, every time we break, before that, we'll have some questions and answers so that you will not be here. We want you to participate too.
Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Everyone, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When Sheikh Amin was speaking about how we should display the best manners, it reminded me of a story, an incident that happened in Chicago, in the Tawheed Center by Oak Brook Terrace. So I'm from Chicago, by the way. I came here this morning, alhamdulillah. It's a pleasure to be here. As I came there, as I drove to the parking lot of that masjid in Chicago for the Jummah khutbah, I saw a Caucasian white person walking towards the masjid and towards the door of the masjid. And I had one session with him because he came to know more about Islam. I had one session with him. So I was really surprised to see John at that time. And I asked him, John, what brought you here today? It's so glad to see you. And then John said, today I came here to become a Muslim. Right?
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
So Alhamdulillah, he embraced Islam, but then I asked him this really important question. Anytime a person takes Shahada, we are all curious. John, what made you interested to know about Islam and to embrace Islam today? And John said that I have a neighbor who's a Muslim. And he's a really good Muslim. He assigned me certain work. So John is a constructor, by the way. He assigned me certain work, and he paid me more than I deserved, and he went out of the way to help me. Means a good Muslim, a practicing Muslim, who is following the example, mashallah, of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there have been many, many such calls, and many, many people who embraced Islam just because of the good behavior of Muslims. So Alhamdulillah, I'm part of an organization called the Gain Peace Organization. Alhamdulillah, in the last 8 years, we have 45,000 people who gave us a call. We have a hotline, 800-662-ISLAM, and 45,000 people called. And Sheikh Amin, out of them, 3,800 of them, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
On the phone mostly, they proclaim, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. So I would say that despite all the Islamophobia, the challenges, the hurdles that we are going through, what we are going through right now, this is the golden age of Dawah in the world. How many of you agree with that statement, by the way? That this, in fact, is the golden age of Dawah. We never had as good of a time in the history of the US and Canada as we are going through right now. So we want to make sure that we don't lose this opportunity. I would say that the age of Trump is the golden age of Dawah. Yes.
Like his face.
What was that? We had more people giving us a call to know more about Islam than ever did, by the way. In fact, last year and since 2016, more people called us than all the years combined since 1993. You got my statement right? In 2 years, more people call compared to combine all the last 25 years. We had more people requesting for the copies of the Quran to read in English or Spanish than people ever did in the last 25 years. And we had more people coming to the masajis for the open house to get to know what the masjid is, who the Muslims are, than in the last 25 years. And Alhamdulillah, we had more people by the hidayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala embracing Islam than ever in the last 25 years or any time in the history of the USA. So I hope and pray that sessions like these, that we remind ourselves about the obligation of dawah and how we can open and break the eyes, how we should explain Islam, how we should respond to some of the questions that they may have, inshallah. What you see up there is a photo, a picture of an open house. So Sheikh Amin, last year we had 87 such events, by the way. Alhamdulillah. Yesterday we had 2. So almost every weekend we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, many of them, right? So it's really important for us to open our doors as many times as possible. You know, some masajis in the USA, they open the door 24/7, some weekly, some monthly, some yearly, but I would say that the masjid should be open as much as possible so our fellow Americans and Canadians can walk in and get to learn about Islam. So in an open house similar to this last year in the suburb of Plainfield, after the presentation, after they got the tour of the masjid, they watched us pray, they had the nice barbecue, the weather was good, I approached one of the non-Muslim ladies, you know, what brought you to the mosque today? You know, because we want to know what are some of the ways, what was the incentive for her to come to the masjid. And this is what she said. You know, she said, you know, Brother Sabeel, you'll be laughing at what I'm going to say. I said, no, go ahead. She said that my friend told me not to go to the mosque because if you go, the Muslims may kidnap you. Right? And she was smiling and she said, you know, I'm here, nobody kidnapped me so far. Then she said that my friend also warned me that even if you go there, do not eat their food because the food would be poisoned. Right? And she said, you know, I'm going to go and tell her, I love the food, I'm still alive, the food was good. Right? Alhamdulillah. But you know, we may be laughing and smiling at that incident. It's a real incident, by the way. But that is the reality. Literally millions of people around the world, especially in Canada and the USA, they have genuine fear about Islam. It's a reality. They have genuine fear about Islam and Muslims. You know, as I was driving one day from job back to my home, there was a car following me for a long time. Even after the highway, whenever I took the turn, the small street, the big street, the car kept on following me. And obviously we become really cautious. That, you know, why are people, you know, people don't follow usually like this. So I became really cautious. So when I parked the car on one of the streets, he also parked the car behind me. And I locked my door, I rolled my windows, and then he got out of the car. He knocked at my door, my window. I lowered the window just a little bit just to see what he has to say. And with a big smile he said, can I get a free copy of the Quran? Right? And now it clicked to me that I had a bumper sticker on the back, free Quran. Right? I did, by the way, free Quran, 800-662-ISLAM-GAINPeace.com. So alhamdulillah. So then I asked him the question, you know, what made you interested to read the Quran? And he said that I have a friend in LA, in California, who's a pilot. And my friend told me never to read the Quran because a book of the devil. No, not really. So that made me curious. When I saw the sticker, the bumper sticker on the back of your car, it made me curious. So now I want to read what the Quran is all about. Alhamdulillah. So this is the golden age of Dawah, my dear Muslims. Let me give you one more data. According to the Pew Research Foundation survey, in the US, despite all the Islamophobia, 39% of people in the USA, they would like to learn about Islam. You got that right? 39% of the people in the USA, they would like to learn about Islam. So just imagine, 120 or 130 million people in the USA, they want to learn about Islam. So imagine if you have a product, and if there are 130 million potential customers of that product, you'll be jumping up and down, you'll be having sleepless nights, that many people out there willing to purchase or potential customers for your product and for the services that you provide. So this is the golden age of Dawah in the USA. So how can we share the message? What do we need to know? What are the do's and don'ts? How can we package the message? You know, all of us, alhamdulillah, we have so much knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given that to us. But knowledge itself is not enough, my dear Muslims. It's really important for us. Okay, so you have the knowledge. then we should be able to like properly package the knowledge. Then we should be able to properly deliver the knowledge, right? Do you all agree with that?
Yes.
For the sisters who cook and the brothers who cook, right? I'm not sure, do they have shan masala here? They do, right? Let's suppose if you have the shan masala and your kitchen cabinets, and then if you invite your guests, are you going to open the shan masala boxes and put in the front of the people? You don't, right? I mean, I hope no one does. To cook the Indian curries and the biryani, by the way, okay? Those who don't know. So what we do is, we package it in such a way, and then we deliver it in such a way, so it is going to be palatable to people. They will enjoy it. In the same way, when it comes to knowledge, it's so important for us not to present raw knowledge, but to package it in such a way, and then inshallah, to deliver it the best way possible. That's when we are going to have the most impact, inshallah. So that reminds me of an ayah from the Quran, Surah 16, ayah number 125, Surah Nahl. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wa mau'izatil hasanati wa jadilhum billati hiya ahsan." And the ayah continues. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that invite all to the way of Allah with wisdom and good preaching, and converse with them in ways which are best and most gracious. So invitation has to do with hikmah. Hikmah means knowledge, packaging the knowledge, using wisdom, good presentation. You know, we can always, Islam is so wonderful. We have the hub. We are not there to win arguments, right? It's easy to win any debate, any argument, by the way. Tawheed versus Trinity, Quran versus the Bible. Jesus, peace be upon him, Son of God compared to Jesus, peace be upon him, a prophet of God. Any such debate, inshallah, Muslims are going to win. But we are not there to win the debates, we are there to win what? The hearts, right? Yes, alhamdulillah. And that was the way of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. MashaAllah. Alright, so with that context, let's go and let's take a look at this one more story. As I was going to Houston, woke up way before Fajr time. My flight was right after Fajr time. When I looked at my boarding pass, my seat was 23C. And when I went to the gate, I saw many military personnel out there. In Chicago, in the US, you see them all over the place. They're going different cities. So lo and behold, I had the intention that let me take a nap because I have a big presentation to give, like something like this, by the way. So let me take a rest because I did not have enough sleep the night before. But when I went inside the plane, lo and behold, my seat was right in the middle of the US military personnel. So alhamdulillah, I said, okay, forget about sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want me to do something else in the plane, alhamdulillah. So that was before, and this is after. 30 minutes into the flight, alhamdulillah, by the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the person on my right and the person on my left, jazakallah khair, they both started to read a book about Islam which I gave it to them. But you may be thinking, Brother Sabeel, 44,000 feet in the air, surrounded by the military personnel, any wrong thing that you say, you can be news, CNN, live. It's a reality. Right? But my thing is, Dawah is easy, right? So the whole thing the biggest thing I want all of you to take from here is, yes, Dawah is easy. Dawah is easy. Literally, you can do it anywhere, anytime with anyone. Alhamdulillah, literally. If we can do Dawah on the plane, we can do it anywhere else. Inshallah, right? Inshallah. So what I will do is, later on in the workshop, inshallah, I can share with you some of the tips of how to break an ice and start a Dawah conversation, inshallah. Because some of you may be curious, Dr. Sabeel, how did you start to break the ice? What did you say to them? To such an extent that they started to read actually a book about Islam in the plane. I mean, obviously guidance comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we as humans, we need to use hikmah. We need to have proper the do's and the don'ts when we convey the message, inshallah. Okay, here is the very first question to all of you. what is common between these dates? I'm not sure. Am I blocking your way, by the way? What is common between these dates? Jeff, I mean, make sure nobody is Googling. Come on.
Just give them a question fast.
Right, I know. Yes, sister. Yeah. Okay, mashallah. So they're all the common era, right? That's a good answer. I'm looking for one more answer, by the way. Right? Yes, sister, go ahead. Yourself.
Those are time the Prophet was alive.
Those were the time the Prophet was alive. Who agrees with that?
After his death.
Those were all after his death, by the way. When was the Prophet born? Which year, approximately? About 570, right? And then he passed away approximately what year? 632, right? Around that time. So all these dates are after him. But that's a good guess, by the way. Okay, anyone else who would like to take a shot? Maybe a brother this time. Come on, the sister, they are bold enough to raise their hands, right? Come on, go for it. Anyone? Yes, brother.
The last two letters are in every C.
MashaAllah.
These are common.
Yes.
I think they are the time of Sahaba, like when like Umar and Abu Bakr and Osman of the Wilaya of Muslimin.
Okay, that's also a very good guess, by the way. These dates are very important because on these dates, the noble companions of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and their followers, they went out to different parts of the world to convey the message of Islam. In the year 641, Amr bin al-As radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he went to which country to open the door for Islam? Egypt, alhamdulillah. In the year 648, a noble companion, he went to a country which is north of Bangladesh, starts with the letter C.
Cambodia.
China. So who opened the door for China for the Muslims? Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu ta'ala. In the year 661, who opened the door? North Africa, especially Algeria. MashaAllah, Uqba bin Nafi, right? Radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And then in the year 711, who opened the door of Islam in Spain? Tariq bin Ziyad, right? Rahimahullah. So mashallah, this is just a very short list, by the way. When the noble companions of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when they were studying the Quran, when they were going over chapter, surah and the ayahs of the Quran, they realized that yes, they have to pray 5 times a day. Yes, they have to do the Hajj and Siyam and wonderful obligations, but then they also realized that Islam is not meant only for Makkah and Medina or Arabia, it is meant for all of humanity. So with their ability, with their finances and with their sacrifices and sometimes sacrificing of their life, they went to different parts of the world just so that your ancestors and my ancestors, they get to listen to the message of Islam, and alhamdulillah, because of what they did, so I was born and raised in India, Hyderabad, by the way. Anyone from Hyderabad? Oh wow. Right away they are raising their mashallah. So should we speak in Hyderabad Urdu? No? No one will understand. One of my ancestors was a Hindu. Way back, if I trace my lineage, right, all the way back. So someone came from outside of the subcontinent of India. With all the sacrifices, without the planes, the trains, the automobiles that we are so much used to, not knowing a single word of Sanskrit, they came there with the sole purpose of sharing the message, inviting the Hindus to Islam, and one of my ancestors, alhamdulillah, they converted to Islam. And now because of that, I say alhamdulillah that I am a Muslim. Just like they went to different parts of the world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent us to this part of the world. May that be USA, Canada or anywhere else, so that we become the messengers of the messenger, my dear Muslims. I have been living in the US for many years. I would say that I cannot justify me living in the USA if I'm not actively, full-time, part-time or actively conveying the message. I cannot justify living. I'm not sure about you, but I cannot, by the way. I'm not saying that you have to be full-time. or part-time, maybe 1 hour a week, maybe 1 hour a month, but consistently conveying the message is very important. So alhamdulillah, look at their sacrifice. One ayah that comes to my mind. This is from Surah Baqarah, Surah number 2, ayah number 143. I thought they were going to all have paper and pencils and pens. Maybe you can write the notes on your phone, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Baqarah, Surah number 2, ayah number 143. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. And the ayah continues. That you have been made an ummah justly balanced, that you become witnesses to humanity the way the messenger of Allah was a witness over you. So it's really important that message of Islam is not restricted to London, Toronto, Chicago, New Jersey. It is meant for all of humanity. So by our knowledge, by our good actions, by our becoming good neighbors, we can inshallah share the message. So let's see the rest of the slides, how we can convey the message inshallah. How many of you are mothers here? MashaAllah, right? Alhamdulillah. And how about fathers? Come on, you're proud, right? Raise your hand higher. Alhamdulillah. Now those who are parents, mothers and fathers, when you wake up in the morning, do you have to consciously say that let me be a dad today, let me be a mom today from Fajr time to Isha time? Do you do that consciously? You don't, correct? You don't. Because fatherhood and motherhood, it becomes innate as soon as the child is born. It just becomes part of us. It's a 24/7. We are always conscious, our role, our responsibility, our care for the children. In the same way, just like parenthood is a state of mind, Dawah is like being a parent. It's a state of mind. Many a times when we speak about Dawah, some activity comes to mind. Some Dawah booth, or maybe a billboard or an open house. Some activity comes to mind. But Dawah should be a state of mind. So once we walk around as Dawah being a state of mind, that means we'll be pushing ourselves, motivating ourselves. Every interaction, every conversation, in a subtle way, planting the seed, directly, indirectly, will be motivating to convey the message. So Dawah should be like a state of mind. Just for being a parent. When we say that parenting is a state of mind, all these things come into play. Right? It's an obligation for us to fulfill all the responsibilities Allah has given to us. And we'll be accountable on the day of judgment. We want a better future for the children. So when you combine all of this, parenting becomes a state of mind. In the same way, when we say that Dawah is a state of mind, what we are saying is that it's an obligation and it's also a necessity. And then obviously, love of the Prophet and all the prophets, alhamdulillah. There were 124,000 according to one narration. Prophets and messengers appointed for all of humanity. If you want to know that what was their primary mission, it was to invite humanity to share the message. And obviously we know that there is no new prophet to come, no new messenger to come. So that responsibility, my dear Muslims, fall under the shoulder of you and me. I'm not sure about Canada, but in the USA, look at this really stark statistic. About 2 million people, they die. So about 2 years ago, I went with the garbage from my kitchen and I went to the back alley to throw the garbage. So it doesn't happen every 2 years, by the way, right? So this story happened 2 years ago. And then I received a call from my wife. And she said, Sabeel, where are you? It has been 2 hours. I thought you just went there to throw the garbage. Where are you? I said, I am still next to the garbage can. And I'm conversing with a neighbor who saw me for the very first time because he's a truck driver. He saw my beard, he came and approached me and I said, you look like a Muslim. I am so-and-so, my name is so-and-so John. I have a few questions about Islam. So alhamdulillah, that conversation, that discussion such a mundane act of throwing garbage can become a dawah conversation. That's the point I'm trying to make, by the way. So when you go for picking up the grocery should become a secondary thing for you. That's like the secondary mission. But the primary reason you're going to the store is to make sure if you can break the ice, you can start a dawah conversation. You can, in a subtle way, direct way, by your hijab, by your beard, by some good actions, how can you initiate a dawah interaction? So by the way, next time when I went out, maybe like a month after, one more time when I went out, again my wife called me, right? Sabeel, where are you? And this time I said, that same guy who stopped me for 2 hours, his son stopped me, right? And he said, my dad told me that if I want to study the Quran, I can get a free copy from you. Alhamdulillah, right? And then I went inside, I washed my hand, I gave him a free English translation of the Quran. Then about 2 months after that time, there was a knock at the door. So it was a Saturday. So what happens usually Saturdays when you're not expecting anyone, when you hear a knock at the door? Who do you think are the main people who come there? There you go, Jehovah's Witnesses, correct? So when I opened the door, so my wife was with me, when I opened the door, there were 2 ladies standing up there. So I thought they were from Jehovah's Witness background, just to preach their message, the Watchtower magazine and whatnot, right? But when I opened the door, my wife was there. The older lady, she said, I am the wife of John. And this is my niece over here. She has a project for her college. She's doing some research on Islam, and obviously I found out that you are a Muslim, your family is a Muslim. We came to get education about Islam from you. So we as Muslims should be the neighborhood Muslim the people should go to for any help, especially when it comes to spirituality and Islam. So we should be visible in the community, my dear Muslims. So it's really important for us. So when we carry ourselves as dawah, being as a state of mind, every interaction, doesn't matter on the street, in our work, with the neighbors, on the train, plane, automobiles, every single interaction, inshallah, can become a dawah interaction. Alhamdulillah, Shaykh Amin said that, or Ashrafi said that, we have long 3 hours, right? They're not long, by the way. I'm serious. This course which I usually give, it is a 32-hour course. So what I'm doing right now, Shaykh Amin, is I'm condensing it, right? Condensing it. Alhamdulillah. But we will still try to do justice as much as possible, right? Inshallah. Alright, who do you think should be the recipients of dawah, by the way? Who do you think should be the recipients of dawah? Everyone, right? Every non-Muslim, doesn't matter young, old, rich, poor, male, female, every single person should be a recipient for dawah. So it's really important, no discrimination, every single person. Doesn't matter if the person has a big tattoo on his hand or the face, he's a recipient, she's a recipient of dawah. Doesn't matter if the person has whatever looks, they are recipients of dawah. So, just to summarize, right? Just to summarize, that it's an obligation. It's just an acronym, by the way, easy for you to remember. What I say is, every single person here is a student and all of you are teachers. You're teachers for those people who are not here. You're teachers when you go back to your families, when you go back to your neighbors and masajis and all your dawahs and interaction, you can be the teacher for them. And when you are going to share with them that, I took this class, I learned something about how to the do's and the don'ts, that's when you can bring in maybe some of the ayahs of the Quran that speaks about the obligation and about the necessity of dawah based upon the age that we are going through. You can speak about the solutions. It's really important. So me as a medical background, suppose if you know a physician, right? Suppose if you know a physician and suppose he goes to a hospital and get the vitals of a patient and knows that what is wrong with the patient. And he has a prescription pad with him, for example, and a pen with him. All he had to do is now write the prescription, write the proper medicine, write the proper test, so the person can be cured or treated. But imagine if the doctor drops the pen, drops the prescription and walks out of the room and goes to the next room, repeats the same thing again, knowing what is wrong with the patient, knowing the diagnosis but does not prescribe the proper medicine. Unfortunately, that is the way some of us, that we interact with the non-Muslims, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us or made us, all of us, as spiritual doctors, spiritual physicians. Our prescription pad, my dear Muslims, is the Quran and the authentic Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. You know, many a times we live in a neighborhood for 5, 10, maybe longer years. We are at a work for about 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years without conveying the message of Islam by our words, by our actions. So it's really important for us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent us to this part of the world so we can use the prescription pad, we can use the GPS system, the Quran and the Sunnah, so we can apply the solutions to humanity's problems. So what are some of the problems you think in the US and in Canada especially? Can you name some of the problems, by the way, which are kind of also in Canada?
Divorce.
Drugs.
Divorce and
Depression.
drug addiction, depression. Gun violence. Is there gun violence in Canada?
Yes.
There is?
Not yet.
Not yet, right? That's scary, by the way. I mean, you know, in the US in 2015, and it may be the same or more, by the way, there have been 365, almost one per day, mass shootings in the USA. So average, there is a one mass shooting every single day in the USA. Mass shooting, by the way, not every mass shooting gets the news coverage. You know, just in Chicago, there were about 35 shootings, about 2 weekends ago.
That's why I left them.
That's the reason he left Chicago. He's a wise man. I brought my suitcase too. Should I stay here?
Yes, yes.
Right?
You're welcome.
If you have some guest room in your house. Sure. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will surely may question us that, you know, you had the solutions that I had blessed you with the Quran and the Sunnah. Why didn't you better the society? You know, humanity is working out by their own secular law so many solutions, but they're not working out. You know, just in the US, by the way, 40,000 people, they take their own lives, suicides. 93,000 people of sexual abuse. 7.6 million people of spousal abuse. Right? Homicide since 2000 until 2015, 402,000 killing by gun violence. You know, and the statistics goes on and on. So it's really important when we speak about Dawah, we have to have empathy for the people. We should not think of us as Muslims and them as them, the other people. Because at the end of the day, we are part of them or they are part of us. They are our brothers and sisters in humanity. They are our family. You know, every single prophet and messenger, they used to address their people as my brothers. Right? My brothers, my people. So they are our people, by the way. If we take that to heart, alhamdulillah, miracles will happen. You know, their joy, their happiness will become our joy, our happiness. Their sorrow, their depression, their problems will become our, because it's part of us now. So once we take that to heart, my dear Muslims, we'll be having sleepless night. We'll be thinking, you know, what should I do now? Even if I don't know how to speak, not a single word of English or French or any language, we'll be taking a bunch of brochures and going to the bus station and passing on the brochures. Even if we cannot do that for some reason, we can donate $1, and by our time ability, we will be doing, you know, day after day. Once we know that these are our people, they're going through problems. How can we, when Allah has blessed us with time and talent and especially Islam, how can we relieve of their problems? Once we have that in our mind, the rest becomes easy, my dear Muslims. You know, when we speak about all these Dawah courses and Dawah training and Dawah workshops, what I think, Sheikh Amin, is this: the best Dawah is on-the-job training. Yes. Just go, you know, when you have to learn how to swim, I can show you a big swimming pool over here, right? Then I can say all the do's and don'ts. It's not going to help you if you just watch a picture, or even if you watch me swimming. It's not going to help you. You have to dip your feet in the water. Really important. What do you think? What do you think is one of the major excuses people give for not doing dawah?
Lack of knowledge.
Okay, lack of knowledge, right? That's one of the excuses, by the way, that people give. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned in an authentic narration in Imam Bukhari's collection, "Ballighu anni walau ayah." Convey from me, even if it is one single ayah, one single message, one single truth. So in Chicago, we had many dawah projects, by the way. One of the dawah projects is to have a message of Islam on the side of the buses. Any one of you have seen the photos, video, or heard about it? You did, right?
Yes.
So this was in the Diwan area, by the way. It's like a Desi bazaar mart. I hope you went and enjoyed food up there.
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
So one non-Muslim lady, she called and she said, I saw the bus and I have a few questions. So when she called us, we said, okay, you know what? Why don't you come and meet us? And then she met the sisters from the IGNA Sisters Wing. So Alhamdulillah, she had a lot of questions, by the way, based upon all the junk the media is saying. At the end of the day, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided her, on the very first sitting, she proclaimed, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Now, her mother, she lives in Michigan. Her mother is old, so she cannot drive, so she took a bus, coming from Michigan to Chicago. And she was one of those, born-again Christian ladies. So she became really angry. How come my daughter joined the faith of this, extremist and terrorist? And she came to Chicago to bring her daughter back to Christianity. But after looking the way the daughter has changed herself for the better, now she's, the way that she is interacting with the mother, with the children, how she's raising the children, how her language has changed for the better. Looking at all of this, she said, I want to sit down with your leadership. So Alhamdulillah, myself, my wife and a few other people, we invited her to the masjid. Long story short, my dear Muslims, this evangelical Christian, about 75 years of age, who came to convert her daughter back to Christianity, shedding tears, she also proclaimed in the masjid, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Now look at the story.